How you doing, everyone, and welcome to Direct Dreadnought, Gundam and more on PS4. And this is a holiday video, and yes, I just did not assume your religious beliefs. I'm going to call it a happy holiday video, a holiday wish list, if you will, because Jesus Christ, I'm pretty sure, was not a materialistic guy, and Santa Claus is not for real. Sorry if I was the one that had to break that to you. But I thought I would make a holiday wish list for Dreadnought in the spirit of the holidays, and because as we get closer to Christmas, I did want to be a little more casual. I may not have the time to make really big, grandiose videos, though I do appreciate people watching my full-fledged, in-depth meta and ship module build review videos. I was afraid I made them too long, but people still like them, and I try to be as thorough as possible to give you the edge. But Yulse, a few days ago, who is a good gamer buddy of mine and a really good player on the PS4 server, made a small wish list, and I did enjoy it, and I thought that I would make one of my own, predominantly because Valorous Zero really wanted some really good points to be brought up and just needed an outlet for his wish list. And Scroat and Persistent Flame have mentioned some things in the past, as well as Yulse and Sharky and many other players, and I thought that I would include this in my wish list video along with a couple of things that I really wanted out of the Dreadnought game as well, and revisiting a couple of things that many players seem to resonate with, a couple of ideas that we would like to see in the game, and maybe if we can all agree on some of these and Greybox is actually paying attention to the player base, perhaps one day our holiday wishes will come true. So I'm going to break this into 3 parts, and I'm probably not going to add much of anything in the way of replays or video content to this. Is probably going to be very basic because this is a little more of a casual video. So I didn't really have the time or the effort to make this some big, grandiose 6 to 8 hour venture. I thought I'd just make it a quick video that maybe would take me an hour or two to put together, and hopefully won't go much past 15 minutes, but we'll see. Sometimes you guys know that I can get pretty thorough and go on a pretty long rant, but I'll try to keep it short and to the point. So I'm going to break this into 3 parts, and those 3 parts are going to be the biggest thing that everyone wants, and that's part 1. Part 2 would be the easiest thing and most lucrative thing for Greybox to do, and that would be certain cosmetics. And we do have a wide variety of stuff in the market, but when we're talking about cosmetics, we're talking about very easy things you can do with the code that would make a lot of people happy, and a lot of people would be willing to give up gold for it. And part 3 goes into game modes, as far as old content, bringing that back, and the possibility of bringing in new content that a lot of players have mentioned to me, and I thought that I would bring that up too. What I am going to stay away from in this wishlist video is balance, because I think lately that Greybox has been doing a good job of tweaking the balance of the game, and I really don't want to bring the holiday spirits down with negativity about what ship class is overpowered, which ones need to be nerfed or buffed. I thought I would leave that to you and the developers and keep that out of this conversation. So let's get started. The thing that overwhelmingly I find that most people want as far as the PS4 side is the server merge between PS4 and PC Steam. And we already had a server merge between the US and EU servers. It was very successful. It boosted population. It got all the players together, and we even had, for a short time before the Steam update around a year ago, we actually had tournaments going on, and I thought that was really awesome and exciting. But I do know that PS4 code is very tough to translate and crack. I do understand this would actually take a lot of effort on Greybox's side, but Apex Legends and many other games have started doing the cross-platform as far as PS4 and PC. Not so much PS4 and Xbox, but we don't have to worry about that because Dreadnought is not on Xbox. So with PS4 having a long successful history and PC kind of waxing and waning in its population, I think by bringing together the two servers, since the servers may have different code depending on the platform, but all the content in the game for both, save maybe Conquest Mode, is identical for both platforms. So I think that not only is it necessary to make everyone happy, that it's inevitable. And I also think that even the very, very picky players out there, that some would like new skins, others would like new ships or whatever, but everyone seems to argue about that, and there are some people that just hate it all. I think merging the server would make everyone happy because it would increase the population for both servers, it would increase the pop rate of the matches, and it would introduce players to players they have never ever fought before, not just newbies, but skilled players from the other side of the fence who probably have a completely separate tactic and strategy base to draw from in their matches. And I think that'd be very exciting, and maybe it would lead to tournaments between various groups of both servers. And I think that's the number one thing that I pick up from the pulse of the people that I've talked to, is having a server merge. Part 2 is going to be cosmetics. Now, we already have a very large market and everyone gets picky. Some people like stuff, some people don't. But I keep hearing from many players that they want, I use this word very carefully, customized cosmetics. And I don't mean custom per person, but a set of cosmetic changes that players could use to personalize their ship. And let me get into this a little bit. So, I mean, ship skins are neat, and we have refits still yet to come out. I know there's 2 refits yet to be released, and 1 tactical cruiser skin that was released on Steam, but not for PS4. So there's 3 ship skins probably down the road for us in PS4. But many people don't like certain skins or don't like the hero ships, and sometimes the parts don't mesh well with the existing skin parts from the basic skin line for all the ships. So a big thing that was requested a few months ago from several players on the Dreadnought official forums is purchasable officer voices. And what I mean by this is we have the same 4 officers on our ships telling us stuff as the matches go on. Have the opportunity to take some voice actors, or maybe even have a contest and have some of the players do the voice acting, just for something to bring the community together. But you pay a certain amount of gold and you can change your officers. You know, the lady with the British accent, you can change that into a male from Africa, or you can change the grizzled captain veteran to some Asian lady, or some techie sounding guy for the engineer instead of the bald guy with the British accent. So you can really change a lot of this around and personalize it, and it shouldn't be very hard to code, because you just be replacing that officer message for the player. No one else in the game would hear it, to be just for them. And you can even have maybe like themes, like a bundle with all girl crew or all British actors and actresses, or you can just go wild with it, and it would be an opportunity to make money and also break up the game and individualize your ship. The next thing, which is dedicated to Valorous, is he noticed with the Carrot Cake skin, and I noticed with the Havoc skin, that sometimes it accidentally changes the color of the windows and the engine plume. And he had the great idea of, why not just personalize / customize the engine plume and ship windows? What if you don't like the color red, for instance, but you're an Akula Vector fan and you don't want red engines or red windows or yellow windows? What if you like green and you want green engines and green windows to go with your green paint job, or maybe to contrast your red paint job, but you don't like those red engines, or you don't like the color blue, and Jupiter Arms has all blue engines and mainly either orange or yellow windows? Why not be able to pay some money, have that customized on your ship? So I think that's a great idea. I think a lot of people would buy it, because a lot of people say, my ship is perfect, but I don't like the engine color, I don't like the windows. And it shouldn't be that hard to code especially when it's already happening by accident with certain ship skins like Havoc or the Carrot Cake. The third one, which is dedicated to Yuls had the idea, why not have holiday themed module noises such as a Halloween scream when you're ramming, or a ho 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 when you activate thrust amplifier or engine booster or assault thruster, ho 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 when you go faster, have a Valentine's Day sound for assault blink warp like oh I love you or something like that, or even 4th of July when you fire missiles instead of the normal missile launching noise, you have the fireworks noise, and that would be a lot of fun. And the possibilities are really endless with this, and this could be something that only the player who purchased it can hear, or maybe other players can hear it in lieu of what that module noise would normally make, because you can hear other players' modules activating if they're close enough, which is really interesting. And I also thought to expand on this great idea that a lot of people would pay for, because I mean you could make your own videos with a lot of hilarity, or you could have other people hearing this sound as you torment them. But you could also have what MechWarrior Online has, and that is a battle/kill horn, where every time you get the final blow, you make some sort of either holiday themed noise or blow a Viking horn or something else like that. That could be something that you could purchase and activate, and only players maybe 1,000 meters, 2,000 meters away, or maybe no players at all could hear, just you, but it'd still be something people would pay for and would be quite interesting in my opinion. And it's very successful on MechWarrior Online. A lot of people like having a personal kill horn, and it'd only be for final blows, not for assists or captain kills. The next one is going to be bring back the optional old hangar, and this is something that Scrope mentioned, and I absolutely love this idea because I love the original PS4 hangar, and I would literally pay money to have it back, and you wouldn't have to change the current UI. You could still keep all the positioning of the words and the font of the letters, such as, you know, go to ships, go to fleet, go to game, whatever, and the market in the lower right hand corner, and everything could be the same except in the background image, instead of the new current hangar, bring back the old hangar, maybe make it a little darker and give it that darker theme for Sinley Bay of being dirty and used and outlaw. But I really like the little thing like the ammunition train that would go by, and some of the ships that would fly in the background out of the airlock, and a bomber or fighter would go by your ship every once in a while. It shouldn't be that hard to bring it back, and I and Scrote, and I have a feeling many other players would literally pay gold to bring back that old hangar, because I really miss the old hangar. I really love it. Last one in this category is something that I came up with and has resonated with many other players, is having a striped pattern. Now, we do have patterns and they're very fancy or tribal or interesting, but it's not everyone's cup of tea, and it varies greatly depending on what parts you use, and sometimes it looks kind of silly, other times it looks really nice. But I really like the stripe markings on the Grenada, the Gora, the Athos, a lot of these tier 5 ships. But if you use lower tier skins, you lose that stripe pattern, or sometimes the pattern doesn't match from part to part. And it would be nice if we had set striping patterns, like racing stripe patterns, for each of the 15 ships that you could use to superimpose over the entire ship, so that these stripe markings are the same no matter what skin parts you use. And I think that would be really good, and it'd be something where you could break it down into the 15 different ships, and maybe each of these would cost a certain amount of gold, maybe 900 gold or 2,000 gold. I think it'd be really interesting, and I would definitely get it. And while we're at it, I know Persistent Flame, and I also think Manny mentioned this, why not have a dazzle pattern like with World War I ships, where it's almost like a random dazzle stripe pattern like we used to have on our battleships, or even a camouflage pattern. I think that would be really interesting, and a lot of people, especially snipers, would like the camouflage pattern. And the last part to the wish list, I think, is going to be the stuff that we can't necessarily hope for, because it's going to be a lot of development. I'm not sure the funds are there, but stuff that we really want. And to start this list off, I have to mention bring back certain game modes, especially custom matches. Just about everyone in Dread Chat and everyone I talk to misses custom matches. We lost it right around the time we got the Steam update. And the reason why we lost it was taken away allegedly because the devs said they wanted to make esports and they wanted to take custom matches and introduce independent viewing or observer mode so you could do esports with the recordings later. But this never panned out, and to be honest, we can do the same thing just by having everyone in a custom match or a tournament match. We can just have everyone record the match, and then people like me can compile it together and make a really good esports video out of it. It's kind of what I do on my channel. So that's really not the problem. It'd be really nice if they just gave up on the observer mode, if that's what's holding them up, and bring back custom matches where you can either have 4v4 all the way up to 8v8, and you can either have bots or no bots, and you can put it in any available game modes such as Onslaught, Team Deathmatch, or Team Elimination. A lot of people need those Team Elimination medals. A lot of people don't get into Team Elimination matches because there just isn't enough people popping those matches, so it'd be a good way to get Team Elimination games. Or if you have grudge matches, especially tournaments. We used to have tournaments on PS4, and now we really can't because it's too hard to set up without custom matches. I know the base code is already there. It shouldn't be that hard, and everyone wants it. It's also a very good thing on those certain times of the day where you know that 5-6 people are waiting in queue to play the game, but there's not enough people out there. So if you put out a message in Dread Chat and there's only maybe 8 players total, you can have a 4v4 custom match instead of making the whole game 4v4 like they tried a month ago, and it made everyone kind of upset. This would be a good way to keep everyone playing with custom matches, even if there's not enough players to pop the normal matches. So I think that's great. The next thing I want to mention is maybe bring back Conquest Mode, but I know this might hurt population to have yet another mode, but I think it's something that if we did do a server merge, we would have to do anyway, and it would be nice. And I think a good solution to this problem is why not have what MechWarrior and other games have, where you have a rotating game mode. So anyone that presses the put me in any game, the any button, the first available game, have that on a random cycle where it goes Onslaught, Team Deathmatch, Team Elimination, Conquest, Onslaught, and it just cycles that way so everyone can play each type of game mode, especially if they're playing 3-4 matches in a row. They get a little bit of everything and then either log off, or if they're playing for an additional hour, they can get each type of game twice. I think it'd be something that'd be very, very simple to do, to randomize the matches for anyone that goes into put me in any game mode, and I think that would be great. So next we're going to get to something that everyone's been asking for a long time, but is something that would require the devs to actually put in a lot of work and time and money, and that is to add more maps. Sheesh. Especially we have 2 really great Havoc maps we could add for PvP, and I think it wouldn't be that hard to do that. And we also have plenty of lore and fan ideas for maps. It can be similar to existing maps, based on existing ones, with some of the base models and just changes of background and color. And I think it'd be really good. It wouldn't be that hard, and I think we really need like the 2 Havoc maps and the 2 new maps based on lore to be added to the game, and I think that would make a lot of players very happy. And lastly, something many of my subscribers, viewers, and players want, but may be impossible to pull off with the current state of the game, is a single or group player campaign. And this would have to be maybe DLC or even a GoFundMe page or something to get this off the ground, but there's plenty of lore and ship stories from the market and from the background of the game, like the Battle of Atlantis, or what Yulce did with the return of the transhumans, or the fall of Singapore, in which Sinley Bay was heavily involved if you read some of the ships in the market, or the mutiny at Ganymede, where the Athos was turned over to Sinley Bay. Some really interesting stuff, and you could do it either single player mode or with a team of 3 or 4 and really explore the lore of the game, and maybe provide an avenue for players that are a little burned out. They don't want to go back in and face a really nasty team that's in the queue right now, and they can do something off on the side. That would be a lot of fun. And of course, I do want to mention as a last parting thought, even though it's probably never going to happen, but I did do a carrier series as well as a map video series and a player campaign ideas video series, but nothing was as impressive to my viewers and subscribers, and nothing resonated as well as the carriers video. So a lot of people would like to see carriers in the game. I know it'll be very hard to do. It's something a lot of people want. We can't have extra tiers. Anything higher than tier 5 or anything higher than legendary fleet mode would just thin the population out too much and would make gameplay less fun. It would take months for everyone to get into the next tier. I think it'd be a waste of time. But adding carriers as a 6th ship class with 3 carriers, 1 per company, seems to be an idea everyone seems to like. I really didn't have any negative feedback with this idea. But I want to wish you guys happy holidays. I will be making videos over the next week and trying to work around my work and holiday schedule, but I thought doing this video to get the conversation going about what you want to see out of the game, what your holiday wish list is for Dreadnought, would be appropriate and a whole lot of fun. Well, that's it from me for now, and I'll see you soon in Sinley Bay.